This is the woman, Victoria Nevins, who has had her home stolen from her and every single dollar from the sale embezzled intentionally by those pretending to be the BC Supreme Court in order to once again cause conditions calculated to bring about my death. Now, I'm speaking to the SAANICH Mayor, Fred Hayes. I'm speaking to SAANICH MLA, Lana Popham, and I'm speaking to the Ombudsman in BC, Jay Chalk. I am looking at an article written and posted on December the 14th, 2021, regarding a vulnerable woman in Penticton who had her home sold out from underneath her for unpaid taxes. And I'm reading from the article, which states in the second paragraph, the BC Ombudsperson slammed the city of Penticton after it forced a vulnerable woman out of her home. Right. Okay. So the truth is, the BC Ombudsperson's office was fully aware I was having my home stolen because I had had lengthy conversations with Michael Moss about having my home stolen, being left destitute on purpose. Now, I'm fully aware not only of the Criminal Code of Canada, but all the personal injuries that are being caused to me intentionally by the individuals I am addressing. Once again, I'm addressing you because you are refusing to communicate with me due to your hatred for who I am and what I am. This has been going on for years between myself and BC's apparent public servants. You clearly, provably hate me and are trying to do everything in your power to make sure my life is over. Now, let's go over the truth that the District of Saanich has a fiduciary duty to keep me in the lifestyle I had grown accustomed to while my spouse was alive. My spouse and I own a home in the District of Saanich and have owned a home in the District of Saanich, and we still do own that house that's been stolen from me by application and title fraud by CIBC and a number of their partners in crime, which you're all aware of because I've sent you the information repeatedly and consistently. Are you unable to understand the truth? Now, there is a bill that is due that needs to be paid to me immediately by the District of Saanich because you have a fiduciary duty to me and my spouse to make sure that I'm going to be okay. Now, every single dollar that has been paid by myself in storage locker fees and in housing costs that are not my responsibility must be reimbursed to me immediately. Going forward, if I am not returned to my home forthwith, which I have clearly identified that happening repeatedly, yet you are continuing to stonewall me on purpose because of your hatred for who I am and what I am. Now, I've explained to you repeatedly who I am and what I am, and why there is no meeting of the minds between my race and those I'm addressing. So, I have now asked for the trespassers' names to be provided to me by 5 o'clock tonight, and that has not happened. So, I need to attend my stolen property at any and all material times to demand, which I must do, the identifications of the squatters adversely possessing my stolen property. They cannot continue to commit mischief on my stolen property with you being aware of that happening. Because then I need to sue you in your personal capacity. I need to sue you, Jay Chalk, in your personal capacity. I need to sue you, Fred Hayes, in your personal capacity, and you, Lana Popham, as well, must be sued in your personal capacity for the loss, harm, and damage you are knowingly and willingly committing. You have a fiduciary duty, as my spouse had and did perform, by leaving a testamentary trust. The house we owned is owned by the trust. It cannot be stolen by a third party. All the monies from the fraudulent foreclosure cannot be embezzled by indictable crime-committing criminals who believe they're above the law because they pretend to be the BC Supreme Court. That is outrageous, egregious, hate-filled, discriminatory behavior towards a vulnerable woman in your community. Now, you have been spoken to repeatedly about this outstanding bill that's due. It's close to $35,000. If I'm not returned to my house by the end of this month, every single dollar that's been spent in storage locker fees and in housing costs must and will be paid by the District of SAANICH. The SAANICH Police Department have now involved themselves in criminal and civil trespasses against myself due to your hatred, your absolute hatred for me. Some of these crimes have been caught on videotape because I get accused of hearsay when I go into Canada's kangaroo courts of lies and liars and explained the kind of hatred and discrimination and ugliness I face when I need to obtain any type of service from the public servants in British Columbia. This is an ongoing issue, and it must be stopped, and it must be stopped immediately. So I'm going to have the full cooperation of you, Lana Popham, of you, Fred Hayes, and of you, Jay Chalk, the full and complete cooperation. I will be expecting emails from each and every one of you regarding this situation, and I will be expecting the delivery of the bill that you've received to pay for all the costs that are not mine. All you had to do was make sure that my house wasn't stolen from me and all the money wasn't being embezzled, and yet you all sat there, all knowing what was happening, and did absolutely nothing to stop it. So, you need to ask yourself two questions. Who are you, and what are you? Because I can answer both questions for each and every one of you. You are not going to continue to leave me with not a dime and homeless and destitute when these are all crimes, indictable crime. So if you don't have to follow the rules, and believe me, there is libraries full of rules you have to follow. If you don't know the rules and you don't have to follow the rules, neither do I. Neither do I. And when I come and do whatever it is that I have to do, to take back my stolen property, there's not a fucking thing not one of you is going to do and say to stop me, because you were informed this was happening. You were informed there was trespassers on my stolen property. Have you even started the fraud investigation that you must do, SAANICH Police Department? Because I've done all the work for you. I've handed it to you multiple times. It is your job to investigate fraud in the District of SAANICH. So saith the federal government. So why don't you tell me why you don't do your jobs? If you are incompetent and if you are incapable, which clearly you have proven time and time and time again, you cannot continue to pull a paycheck being a public servant. You need to be removed immediately because you are a danger to the public. You are a danger to the community. If you cannot understand the truth that I present to you again and again and again. The District of SAANICH has a fiduciary duty to keep me in the lifestyle I've grown accustomed to. I am accustomed to living on 1/4 of an acre in a 2,000 square foot home. And that's exactly where I'm going to be put back before the end of January 2022, because I've had enough of your incompetence and your ignorance and your hatred and discrimination of me. You will not continue to deny you owe me $35,000. You will not continue to deny that you're responsible for every single dollar of storage locker fees and housing costs that are not mine. Those are not my normal costs because my house was stolen from me. So, I will not continue to be placed in an unsafe, unhealthy environment, which again you have been notified of. And all of this is now being video recorded because now I'm going to have to sue you all because you don't want to do what's right, because you clearly want me dead because of your hatred for me and what I stand for and what I speak. I speak a completely different language than all of you. I have had continual problems with the BC Ombudsperson's office. Continual. You lie, you deny, you duck, you dodge, you cover up for the criminals every single time something unfair is happening to me. This is now repeated in historic discrimination, refusal to serve. Fred Hayes, how dare you? How dare you stay silent? What if this was happening to your precious wife, Freddie Pooh? Would you be upset, Fred? Because I can tell you what, my spouse, Jack Daly, is fucking livid. It's your behavior of allowing a vulnerable woman, an innocent woman in this district. We paid taxes here for 20 years. And you have a fiduciary. Do you even understand what that means? I went on YouTube and I listened to your little idiot fucking meetings. Wow. You know what? You don't want me watching and you don't want me listening because I know exactly who and what I'm watching and listening to. When I'm listening to a weed. When I'm listening to a tear. Zero understanding amongst the wicked. Zero. Yeah, I'm not going to continue to have no money to eat. I'm not going to continue to have no money to even meet my basic needs because the District of SAANICH hates me and wants me dead. Just like the bank, CIBC, just like all the little fucking mindless maggots pretending to be the BC Supreme Court who embezzled $700,000, leaving me absolutely penniless. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't touch an inheritance. Didn't we already go over this? Oh, that's right. No. You see, you're dead. That's why you're deaf. You see, all the truth that I present to you, you can't see any of it because you're blind. Because you're evil. You're evildoers. That's why you stay silent. Well, I continue to fucking suffer. Well, I'm not going to suffer in silence anymore because I've had enough of your ugliness and your racism and your discrimination and your refusal to serve. Your refusal to protect. We don't believe hell is real, do we? Well, I got the bad news for you. Oh, yes, it is. Yep, hell is real. And how you treat me, your stonewalling of me, which is an absolute egregious act of violence, is all being recorded by the King. And on Judgment Day, I will stand there being a witness against each and every one of you because you refuse to do what was right. Do I need to teach you the rules you have to follow? Because if I have to teach you your own rules, you can't be sitting there and you're not going to be pulling a paycheck. No, I don't think so. There is money due, and I'm not chasing my money. My money will be delivered to me. What is due to me and is now due every single month that I continue to be homeless when I own a house that's being destroyed by trespassers performing acts of mischief. Personal capacity, you will be held accountable in your personal capacity. So for every single crime, and there's a matching civil tort to every single crime you're committing against me, you will be held responsible in your personal capacity. And I can guarantee you that anybody as a bar member has no jurisdiction over any matter I bring before the court anymore. No, they have proven repeatedly and consistently to be frauds. Absolute frauds. Ignorant frauds. Just ugly, hate-filled frauds every time. My son was abducted. That's what happened to us. Now my home has been stolen, all the money embezzled. Just absolute and utter wickedness and evil. And that only comes from one place. That's coming from those I'm talking to. Okay? So every time you've gotten an email and you've refused to respond, that's an act of violence. It's an act of hatred. It's a hate crime. But listen, what does the wicked understand? The wicked understands nothing. That's why you continue to remain silent and refuse to pay what you owe me. Right? Because if I have to now go file claims of action against you wrongdoers, that's satanic ritual abuse. That's what that is. If you won't do what's right on your own, you have to be forced to do what's right? Right. You have to be forced to do what's right because you're not right in the head. Clearly. There is no words in the English language to describe my level of fucking rage at all that you are and all that you do. No. So, no more stonewalling, because that's viciousness. That's egregious abuse of a vulnerable woman in your community who has been rendered homeless and destitute on purpose by criminal organizations and the evildoers who pretend to be those criminal organizations. If you can't understand the truth, you need to get rid of yourself because you are a toxic danger to the environment. And we can go to the DSM and we can look as to what the issue is between myself, being the race that I am, and all of you, because it's crystal clear in the DSM that you hate me because of who I am and what I say. And that's why you're refusing to pay your bills, and that's why you're refusing to do what's right. So, BC Ombudsperson, you're going to get involved. You're going to get involved, okay? And you're going to do what's right. And I'm sorry, the paperwork that you demand everybody else to fill out does not apply to me. It doesn't apply to me. This is the complaint. You go right ahead and you write it down, all the things that you just heard me say, and you fill out your own paperwork. You got that? No, I get paid to fill out paperwork, and if I'm not being paid to fill out your paperwork, I'm not filling out your paperwork. I get paid to work. I don't work for nothing. You don't work for nothing, do you? Well, I don't either. Okay? This is a serious fucking issue. A serious issue. There is money due and it needs to be paid. Do I have to explain the trust that I'm invoking? Right? I'm the only one with the power and authority to make sure everybody follows that trust. I'm the only one who can do it. And I'm going to do it however I see fit to do it. So, the SAANICH Police Department, whoa, you're going to be held in your personal capacity. Each one of you, sickos, who wanted to argue the truth when I told you the truth, you will be held responsible in your personal capacity, right? Since the pigs, pukes, and dogs in this province have decided to attempt to try to sue me into suicide, we're going to flip that around, and it's going to be me who's doing that to you. Because that's what you've done. That's what you tried to do. You tried to sue me into suicide. That's why you stole my son and sold him for huge profit. That's why you stole my house and embezzled every fucking dollar from the fraudulent foreclosure. Because you're trying to sue me into suicide. And you're all in on it together. It's called conspiracy. Do we need to read the Criminal Code of Canada together? Do I need to teach it to you? A library's full of rules that you have to follow when you don't follow any of them because you falsely believe that you're above the law. You're not above the law. So you have created a contract with me to pay me. Retroactively, stricter to SAANICH, you have created a contract with me, retroactively, to reimburse me for every single dollar of housing costs and storage locker fee costs that are not mine. No. Do you understand? I'm going to post this publicly. So to name and shame you public servants, you racist bigots who hate me and want me dead. That's why you won't pay me. I'm in an unsafe, unhealthy living environment, and I need to be moved somewhere where I would be paying the same amount as if I'd be paying inside my stolen house. There were no costs left to me in living expenses because my spouse left me our home and he had mortgage insurance, which means I have a mortgage-free house. Do I need to teach you the evidence? Can you not read the evidence? You've been sent the evidence multiple times. You can't have an intelligent conversation with me because you're a different species than I am. Again, I've identified myself to you repeatedly. 3 witnesses identify who I am: my blood type, my personality type, and my date of arrival. 3 witnesses identify who I am and what I am. And let's not forget what Jesus had to say about what I'd be experiencing when I was here. He told me you'd all hate me, and he told me that you'd do everything in your power to murder me, and that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing because of your hatred for me. And this is going to be a problem. So now it's a solved problem, right? Oh, and by the way, when I read through that article about that Penticton woman getting thrown out of her house over some unpaid taxes, I mean, these Penticton counselors, wow, they got about the same level of intelligence as the District of Saanich counselors. Just absolutely rancid. But that's what you can expect from the humans, from the male and female humans. All arrogant. All filled with their own thoughts. Yeah, cute. No, don't worry. The hatred is circular. You hate me and I hate you because I know exactly who and what you are, and you hate me because I know who and what you all are. So, Fred, if you can't pay me, and that's exactly what you need to do, Fred, you need to walk over to the Accounts Payable Department of the District of Saanich and say, we have received a bill that we must pay and continue to pay every month, right? $1,200 in living expenses are due at the beginning of every month, and $370 are also due at the beginning of every month until I'm placed back in my stolen property. So if you don't want to pay that money, I suggest you have a real lengthy discussion with the big boy there, the Saanich PD, the chief there. You got a chief there, the Saanich PD, because you're committing indictable crime. And if you're indictable crime committing criminals, you can't be police. You have to be blameless to be police, and you're not blameless. Now you're guilty of the civil tort of intimidation and the criminal act of intimidation. Yeah. Isn't that unfortunate for you? Wow, disgusting can you possibly be? Anyway, let's look and see here, because this is one of the documents that I've sent you repeatedly. You see this state of title certificate? Yeah, that's got my spouse's name on it. This is from January the 30th, 2003. Right. That property is held in trust, and that property's been stolen via application and title fraud. It's been stolen. Right, so that house still belongs to me. Still belongs to the trustee, that's me. And I'm the beneficiary of that trust, and I benefit from that property, and I'm not benefiting from my properties because it's been stolen from me. It doesn't matter how many times or how many hands it's passed, it's still my property. And whoever the fuck is inside that property better get out. Better get out, because this is going to get real ugly real quick. If those fucking animals aren't the fuck out of my house, and I mean now. Those fucking disgusting pigs, get out of my house. Yep, oh, see, yeah, see right here. Yeah, see, this is how the government of British Columbia is posting revenue of $65 billion a year. Yes, they're embezzling estates. They're stealing houses, leaving vulnerable women that they hate, homeless and destitute, on purpose. Right, so once again, you've got those who pretend to be the BC government lying their faces off about how much they're hoarding in profit. Just disgusting. And here we've got the Saanich Police Department during 16 days of activism. You are terrorizing me. You are brutalizing me with your lies and your intimidation and your criminal activity because you refuse to uphold my rights and my right as owner of that property. No, what you're doing is you're protecting criminals who have no right to hold my property. That's what you're doing. Do you understand that? No, because you're male and female humans. You're monsters. You're legally defined as monsters for good reason. For good reason, because that's the truth. That's the truth about what you are. You've proven it to me repeatedly. You can't now say that you're not what you are when you keep proving what you are. Yeah, here's the government of British Columbia during the 16 days of activism, talking about how you can help. Well, what's more violent than destroying a woman's life? Because that's gender-based violence. Every crime that's been committed against me is because of my gender. I'm a woman. I'm not a female. Society hates women because a woman knows the truth and a woman teaches the law. Yeah, this is just all hypocrisy. This is all hypocrisy by those who pretend to be. And here's the bill. Here's the bill here for $35,000 that's been due since January the 10th. And now it's way past a week later, and you're continuing to stonewall me because of your hatred for me, right? And I explained it to you in the low level that you can understand, right? Because my level of intelligence is far too above and beyond for you, public servants, to understand. So read through it. It's pretty obvious what's going on here and why you're going to be paying those costs, because that's not my responsibility to pay them. I was to be kept in my house. That's exactly what my spouse, Jack Daly, told you all. He told the entire world that when he bought a testamentary trust. Do you all know the rules of testamentary trusts? Well, you do now because I've taught you the rules. And here's Fred. Look at Fred. Fred's getting big bucks, aren't you, Fred? Yeah, you're a disgrace. You're not going to stay silent, and you're not going to pay me what you owe me. Okay, because all this is some male and females making a decision, and that's what the decision is. Because that's your responsibility. Because we're going to go over what you write down here. Let's see here. Our mission describes both our purpose and our practices. I got this off the District of SAANICH website. Right? So this is who you pretend to be, but your actions are the opposite of what you've written down here. So what's going on here? What's going on here? Mission. The mission of the District of SAANICH is to enhance the quality of life for citizens, visitors, and future generations in our municipality and the region. We strive to live in harmony with each other and our environment and further our citizens' economic, physical, and social well-being. Oh my God, what a lie. What a lie. That is a lie. That's fraud. I can take that into a legitimate courtroom, which there isn't any in British Columbia or in Canada, and you'd all have to go down for fraud, because that's not true. Look how you treat me. Look how you stonewall me, because you hate me, because of who and what I am. That's disgusting. Values, yeah, respect, loyalty, no, honesty, acceptance, nope, no. You need to take all that down. You need to take all that garbage down off your website. That is a lie. That's the same kind of lies Lana Popham tells. Just absolute fraud. District of SAANICH, let's look and see this tweet here. Oh, let's see. It can be easy to feel down, overwhelmed, and stressed out these days, but don't worry, because you're not alone. And hey, listen, we're in this together because we're going to support each other with compassion and kindness. Gee, that's strange because I haven't seen any compassion or kindness from any public servant pretending to be the District of SAANICH. Most definitely the disgusting District of SAANICH Police Department. Just filthy animals. Liars is what you are. Oh, and here's Lana lying. There's Lana Popham lying about what it does and what it doesn't do. Yeah, Lana claims to hold the government to account. Is that right, Lana? Well, the government, Lana, has once again committed an act of genocide against myself and my family by lying, filing another vexatious, frivolous, without merit, egregious, fraudulent from the beginning claim of action to steal my house and embezzle every dollar. What are you going to do about it, Lana? Because my spouse and I paid your salary for 20 years, Lana. And here's Scott Green, the police chief constable. A constable. Yes, right. He's the head of the criminal organization SAANICH PD who hate me and want me dead. That's why I haven't heard a word from him about the vandalism of my car. Yes, I do have a public servant pretending to be the SAANICH PD I've recorded the call, and apparently I was going to get a call from the investigator on that file, but of course I'm never going to receive a call because you don't care about me or any of the crimes that happened to me, and now this is a repeated behavior pattern. Provable behavior. Let's see here. And once again, let me explain to you, I have Rh negative blood. I'm not an animal. I'm not a female animal. I'm a woman. I'm a completely different species than over 90% of the male and female animals here. Humans. Human. Yeah, you're human. That's why there's a problem in communication and meeting of the minds, because I can't have an intelligent conversation with a human. I've tried for almost 50 years. Not possible. So let me read this to you since you probably don't understand what I'm telling you. Be aware that the peculiar people, that's who I am. That's the identifiable group I belong to. We're called the peculiar people. We trust the science. We trust the Rh status as it determines who the peculiar people are being attacked by, and it's always Rh positive monsters, humans who look like people. There are a number of very dangerous, dishonorable, violent male and female persons acting as SAANICH PD who must be withdrawn from serving this community post-haste. Those acting as public servants for the District of SAANICH are mandated to act upon the following instructions, which must be posted immediately on all community social media and District of SAANICH websites. So what we need to do is we need to purchase these Rh testing kits. They're not very expensive. They're less than $15 a piece. And then we test your blood, and then we can find out what you are. Whether you're a human or whether you're a man or woman, right? Because you're not above the law. I don't care who you are or what you think you are or who you work for. You're not above the law. So, attention, Scott Green. It's established that those acting as SAANICH PD are required by law to investigate multiple acts of fraud resulting in the theft of my homestead and the embezzlement of the entire inheritance from the trust's beneficiaries. I have done your jobs for you, therefore by law you are required to lay criminal charges forthwith as you claim to be law enforcement. Be aware, Scott Green, I am laying criminal charges first set against the trespassers in adverse possession of my stolen property, now guilty of mischief et al., so you must, by your oath, cooperate with my expert counsel and instructions. I am the victim, Scott Green, therefore I must lay criminal charges post-haste, as unlike you and your dishonorable colleagues, I do understand law and justice. Unlike you, Scott Green, and your colleagues, I do care about my health, welfare, and safety. Again, I constantly have to ask the same question because I already know the answer. I don't ever ask a question without knowing the answer. So when I ask you if you understand, I know that the answer is no, that you don't understand. Which puts me back in the driver's seat to do what I must do because you're not going to do your job. Which violates your oath, which means you can't serve the district. After decades of persecution, my level of rage is at an all-time high. So as counselor, you'll call me counselor. I'm counselor for the king. Anybody who attacks me and the peculiar people binds themselves. It's called joinder. Ask your liar about it. You join yourself to the pains and penalties of the Torah. You join yourself to the pains and penalties as they are written out in the Torah when you attack the peculiar people. Understand? So, I went on the anti-fraud website, Scott Green and Fred Hayes, and this is what it says. This is exactly what it says. I took a screenshot of it for you so you can see for yourselves with your blind fucking eyes. It's the role of the local police to investigate fraud, and yet you've refused to serve me. Right? There was fraudulent petitions filed with the BC Supreme Court that should have never been filed. It's all based on fraud. Right? So again, you've been given the evidence consistently and repeatedly, yet you refuse to serve me. Because there's conspiracy going on to commit genocide against me because of who I am and what I am. It's all written in the DSM. The DSM is the scriptures. Yeah, I explained that to you as well. The only place I go for answers is the scriptures, because that explains to me not only who I am, but what all of you are and why you do what you do and why you can't understand anything. Right, oh, here we go. This is just clearly from the insane tweet from public servants acting as SAANICH PD. They do not understand when to lay criminal charges. There's no victims pertaining to this incident, so why would BC taxpayers and residents of the district of Saanich be forced to pay for this level of blatant ignorance? I am charging 4 trespassers in adverse possession of my stolen land and premises with mischief post haste. Saanich PD, you have a fiduciary, a moral, a legal, and a lawful duty to act immediately to return my stolen property to me, because I'm the rightful owner, and you're in possession of that contract. I've handed you the contract. You've been in possession of that contract for years, and then you were again handed the contract at the end of November, when I was refused service by the 2 Saanich PD that I'm now going to hold personally responsible in your personal capacity. Oh, let's see. What did I hear from one of the swine on November the 27th? And you know who you are. Eh? Your name Mike? Well, Mike, don't you ever even think about talking to me the way you spoke to me like that day again. With every word out of your mouth, you prove that you're not a man. But you think you're a man, but you're not a man, because a man would never talk to me like that, ever. A man would never come out and try to argue a contract with me that you know nothing about. I'm an expert on that contract. An expert. I've had to become an expert on that contract. That's called a trust. That property that you're refusing to give back to me because of your wickedness and your hatred of me, that's owned by a trust. Right? So there's criminals, there's sick animals destroying my house because you wouldn't do anything about it when I asked you to serve and protect. But wait a minute here, you don't have any obligation to protect, do you? Because that's what a man would do, and you're not a man. And that goes for all the other swine that have attacked me and performed acts of police brutality against me since I started to work back for my property. At the end of November, you see, I have to take a break because I am having to deal with toxic animals, male and female animals. And these toxic animals, I'm addressing you now, you poison me. You're poisonous. That's why you're referred to as weeds in the DSM. That's why you're referred to as poisonous tares in the DSM. You don't get that, do you? So let's go over it. So November 27th, 2021, during a visit to Saanich PD, to report a myriad of crimes occurring in my life, past, present, and future, I was informed if I didn't like the indictable crimes and the hatred and the abuse leveled against me by a number of Saanich public servants, I would have more of my precious time wasted by filing a futile complaint with partial and biased individuals pretending to be some ridiculous complaints department. Because, you see, the police are investigated by the police, a deliberate, intentional conflict of interest. So I'm sorry, but yeah, listen to me. If I have a problem with any of you, I will be addressing you, and I will be addressing you personally. If I got a problem with you, I address you personally. Okay? Because that's how men and women handle their business. Right? Only a fucking pig would perform an act as egregious as you have performed on me and then tell me to go file a complaint. That's how satanic cults work. That's how Satanists work. That's how Satanists protect themselves. Do you understand that? If I got a problem with you, I'm going to handle you personally. I'll be handling you personally. I'm not going to go talk to some other pig about a pig. That's disgusting. That's stupid. It's satanic ritual abuse to even suggest that I go talk to somebody else about a problem I got with you. How disgusting are you? How disgusting are you? You're all the fucking same, aren't you? Your fucking minds all think the same. Low-level fucking animals is what you are. Do you understand that? You don't, do you? Yeah, no. Are you offended? I don't care. I really don't care if you're offended by the truth. You have an oath and a library full of rules that you have to follow. And if you don't understand the rules that you have to follow, if you don't understand the basic tenets of morality, you need to literally off yourself right here, right now. You don't need to be involved in anything at any time, at any level, if you are that sick in the head. Okay? So I'm going to post this all over the place. You're going to all listen to it. And I hope you realize that the way I'm posting things now, there's counters. There's counters. So I know how many are looking and listening to everything I'm doing now. Yeah. And if I have to file claims of action against you, that's satanic ritual abuse. That's what that is. So because the courts have lost all jurisdiction, I'm just going to start filing judgments. And then I'm going to have to do my own work. I'm going to have to do my own work because this is clearly what's going to have to happen. Because obviously anybody, any male or female human pretending to be any kind of public service in British Columbia, provincially or federally, is not going to do anything for me. No, because what we have here now is we have the children of the devil have now completely taken over all fucking major institutions. And that's all you have running these banks and these governments and these courts and these public service agencies. Just absolute waste of time. So there's money owed, there's money due, and it has to be paid. And it has to be paid now. So if you need the receipts from what I've told you, you're going to have to contact me and we're going to have a discussion about it. And this is time sensitive, okay? I'm not going to continue to have not a dollar and not a dime and not a home to live in when I own a house in SAANICH. I own that house. And the Court of Appeal has already decided because these matters have already gone to court. So I'm not going back into that whorehouse to get any more court orders. I'm not going to go discuss the truth with these liars sitting on the Masonic bench of bullshit. Right? Because these matters have already been decided. Let me show you right here because I've had to write it all down for you. Yeah, you toxic swineherd. Let's see here. Oh, what's going on here? Yeah, let's see. Mortgage fraud, you see? When the bank put my house into their name, that's called application fraud. And then that turned into mortgage fraud. Do you understand that? Mortgage fraud. In April 2009, the BC Court of Appeal held that unless a mortgage is granted by the true owner of a property, the mortgage is invalid and the owner's title will be returned to its original state. Right, exactly. So that's exactly what I'm doing. You're not going to get another fucking court order. There's not going to be any fucking appeal filed. You know why? Because the petition that went in, the first petition that went in, should have never gone in. It's void on its face. It's void on its face. It means nothing. It's empty noise. So I don't have to appeal something that should have never been filed in the first fucking place. And this little right here, this April 2009 Court of Appeal decision. So I'm the true owner of that property, and I didn't grant sale of my home. There's thousands of emails explaining just that. Would you like to see them all? Would you like me to read them to you? So, the first mortgage that was obtained is invalid. And now the second mortgage that's been obtained is also invalid. So what you have there is you've got fucking criminals committing acts of trespass and acts of mischief amongst many other indictable crimes, destroying my property. And District of Saanich, you're responsible now. Now you're responsible. Now you're on the hook now too. Because now you've been informed repeatedly and consistently. And same with you, BC Ombudsperson. You knew this was going on because we talked about it at length. And you get emails from me all the time that you refuse to respond to. I don't fill out paperwork unless I'm being paid. This is the complaint. This is the fucking complaint. So, YouTube has a open transcript button. You go in there and you write down everything I've told you. You can take it out of the transcript on the YouTube video, and that's the complaint. That's my complaint. I can use any kind of language I see fit to. And you're not going to tell me that it's inappropriate language, okay? What's inappropriate is you continuing to stonewall me and pretend like you haven't done to me what you've done to me. That's just fucking sick. You're sick. You're sickos. So I need that money and I need it now. That money, that check for $35,000, and then subsequently every single month I'm now kept out of my house, the District of Saanich. I'm going to keep telling it to you till you fucking understand what I'm telling you. The housing costs and the storage locker fee costs are not my responsibility. I own a house in the District of Saanich. If I'm not back in my house immediately, right, the $35,000 still has to be paid because those aren't my costs. And then every dollar moving forward, if I'm not back in my house pretty much immediately, is also the costs that the District of Saanich will be covering. You have to. Those are the rules. If I have to teach you the rules, you're no longer serving the District of Saanich. How about just the rules of morality? How about that? How about we just concentrate on the rules of morality? Because what you do to me, I get to do to you. Like I told you, you've joined yourself to the pains and penalties of the Torah. So, I'm going to kick all of you out of your homes. I'm just going to take over your houses. And I'm going to take every dollar you have. I'm going to steal. Actually, I'm not even stealing. I'm just taking it because it's mine. I'm going to now utilize every single dollar, liquid and material asset each of you have, because that's what you allowed to be done to me and my spouse. Do you get it? All communication must be in writing. All communication must be in writing. And if I have to now start going and filing claims of action in the Provincial Court of British Columbia against each and every one of you in your personal capacity, well, let me do that then. Because clearly you're not going to do what's right unless you're forced to do what's right. And that's how I know that you're witches. A witch has to be forced to do what's right. A witch has to be forced to do what's right, because a witch will not do what's right unless the witch is forced to do what's right. So if you can't do what's right, you've identified yourself as a witch. And according to Exodus 22:18, now that you've joined yourself to the pains and the penalties of the Torah, which is the trust that my Father holds his property inside, you can expect that to be happening to you. I don't get to have an opinion on the law. I'm counselor for the king. I've identified myself to you repeatedly. You call me counselor at all material times. I am the counselor. I counsel for the king. I roll out law and justice exactly the way the king wants it to be rolled out here on earth, because that's my job. That's what I'm trained to do. I've got over 10 years in training. I'm a qualified judge now, which means I get to judge you. And that's why I need to continually explain to you who I am and what I am. I need to identify myself to you so you understand what's going to be happening to you. You evildoers. You blind and deaf humans. Right? There can be no meeting of the minds between a human and a woman, which is why you're continuing to do what you're doing to me, which is conspiracy to commit genocide. Jesus told me that you would do this to me. Jesus told me you would hate me. Jesus told me you would murder me. Jesus told me you would slander me. Jesus told me you'd steal everything I ever was gifted. And you've done exactly what Jesus told me you would do to me. Isn't that strange? That's why I use the DSM at all material times. Because it explains exactly who you all are. Snakes in suits. That's what we got here. Monsters. You're legally defined as monsters. Yes. And look how you're treating me. I mean, you've identified yourself. And now we're going to find out medically, scientifically, and genetically what you are. Because then that'll explain everything. And I need that information for court because you clearly all want to be sued. You clearly all want to be sued. That's what you're looking to do here. You're looking to waste some more of my time. Right? You're looking to satanically, ritually abuse me by not doing the right thing. So now I have to force you to do the right thing. It's going to matter. Oh, it matters. You better fucking believe it matters. I don't need to be nice to any of you. I am not obligated at all to be nice to any of you. Read the DSM. When you read the DSM, I'm identified as the righteous. And you are all identified as the wicked in that DSM. It sits right there on the witness box of the courtroom. You know why? Because it's a witness against each and every one of you who refuses to do what's right because there's nothing right about you. Pretty obviously, I shouldn't have to go to this length and this level to talk to you yet again because you won't do what's right. I've been watching you, District of SAANICH, public servants for a long time. Man, if I fucking unleashed on you dogs, wow, you'd self-combust. You are just disgusting. Giving yourself these huge pay raises. Excuse me, what? What? No. Nope. You got lots of money in the kitty. You're getting huge money per property for taxes, and I know you have exactly the amount in surplus that you will be paying me for storage and housing costs. Fiduciary duty. Do I got to teach you fucking the law? Yeah, I keep repeating myself because I know I'm talking to the deaf. I keep repeating myself because I'm talking to the deaf. Lana Popham, I have had issues with you for years. You have refused to serve me and my family, Lana. So I'm going to see you in court, Lana. You and me, Lana, you're going to have to come to court, and I'm afraid, Lana, I don't associate with liars. So you were forbidden from hiring a liar to speak for you, because that's called hearsay. The court doesn't hear hearsay evidence. You're going to talk for yourself, Lana. You're going to explain on the record why you refused to serve me and my family. Every time we were leveled by some vexatious, frivolous, without merit court petition. Can you explain yourself, Lana? You're a public servant. Lana. You're a fraud, Lana. Do you hear me, Lana? So, let me explain it to you one more time. $35,000 is due to be paid to Victoria Nevins. This is a gift. It's a gift. It's not income. It's a gift. It's reimbursement for all the loss, harm, and abuse that you're putting me through by not returning me back to my house. So if you don't want to continue to pay for the storage and the housing costs past the end of this month, you will remove the squatters trespassing and performing acts of mischief on my property forthwith. That's what you have to do if you don't want to pay. But you still need to pay the $35,000 that's due immediately because it's due immediately. And believe me, if you want to have a council meeting about this, I'm at the council meeting. And trust me, you don't want that. You don't want me listening to you, okay? You don't. Because that level of stupidity, for me, is toxic. It's poisonous. It will cause me the kind of damage that could end my life because I'm not allowed to sit in the seat of mockers. Go read Psalm 1:1. It's directions to the peculiar people that we are not even permitted to have anything to do with the toxic humans here. Due $35,000. So you wouldn't do it through an e-transfer. I see that, right? You're not going to follow those directions. So great. Then you create a bank draft. Fred, listen, these are your instructions, Fred. Fred, you're going to go to the accounts payable department of the District of Saanich, and you are going to instruct that individual, that public servant, to write out a bank draft for $35,000. My name is Victoria Nevens. You've got my name repeatedly, Fred. That bank draft will then be hand-delivered to the front desk of the establishment that has been housing me, and you all know that address. And those are your instructions, and you must follow them because they're lawful, and they're legal, and they're moral, and they're right. And you need to now work overtime to prove to me that you are not male and female humans. That you're worthy to sit in those seats because you understand. Don't make me go over the District of Saanich website again and inform you of what you've written down there, because you're not doing any of that for me. Now, why would that be? That money is due immediately. Okay? Immediately. And I will keep pounding you, and I will keep hounding you just like this, and I'm going to post it all publicly until that money is paid and until I'm back inside my house. Do we understand each other? Do we understand each other? Right. Witnesses against you all.